Sarah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's always good to get a good podcast host on the other end of the microphone. So I'm keen to chat a little bit about your journey, some of the business side of things, and then talk a little bit about money and some of the lessons that you've learned along the way. I thought maybe a good place to start was to just tell us a bit about your journey and how you've ended up where you are today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not very good at a short story, but I'll try and keep it condensed. I started off on a very different pathway, very conventional legal career trajectory. Not so much because I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, but genuinely, I think a lot of people end up finishing school not knowing what they want to do and choosing things sort of by a process of elimination. All through my childhood, all through primary school and high school, I describe it now as being really nerdy, but also really arty-farty. And I always had trouble kind of balancing the two. But at least at school, you can keep all sides of your personality alive. And then it got to choosing a career, and suddenly that became really difficult. So I chose law really because I thought there were about 3 careers. I didn't like blood. So I was like, oh, well, there's one job left over. I'm gonna be a lawyer. And I spent probably 3.5 years as a mergers and acquisitions lawyer. Didn't hate it. I wasn't a corporate refugee who was trying to get out from the minute I started. I was actually quite gratified by how successful it seemed objectively, by how many clear steps there were towards promotion. The corporate ladder is very alluring and seems very sparkly at the time. But I think what makes me shudder now is that because I wasn't one of those really unhappy people, if you're desperately unhappy, I feel like it inevitably gets to a point where you change your life. If you're just kind of complacent and like, oh, well, this is fine, I feel you could go decades just like that and never know that there was something more. So it was actually only by a very lucky, happy accident that sparked a sliding doors moment. I got to go to Rwanda in Africa, of all places, where my husband's creative agency was sponsoring a school. And 2 things happened. First was I saw pure happiness in the community there, with dirt floors, no electronics, no internet, no running water, but just pure joy about seeing each other or playing with a leaf. And then I came home and saw us with all our stuff and just intense anxiety about having more of the stuff. So suddenly I was like, oh, wait, success and happiness are different. Oh, my gosh, they're different concepts. And the next thing I brought home was a gut parasite, which led to adrenal fatigue, which then led to being banned from coffee, which is how I discovered matcha, which is how our business idea came about. So the big life change was a selfish needing to close a gap in the market. Never really engineered, although I wished that I'd seen a gap in the market and made an actual conscious decision, but it all kind of happened as a bit of an accidental snowball. And now that was, 5.5, 6 years ago.